over the past 150 days or so using the iPhone 17 Pro Max after all the hype and excitement has died out. I'm going to go through the stuff I like, my thoughts, and there's also some issues which still to this day I'm experiencing. So let's talk about it. So when the 17 series was originally announced, I actually went for the 17 Pro in the orange color. I've always got the normal size iPhone Pro models, so 13 Pro, 14 Pro, 15 Pro, and so on. Hence, I got the 17 Pro. And this time around, I figured I wanted to try things a little bit different, and for two different reasons. Now, I went for the 17 Pro Max, not just for the bigger screen, but it gave me an option, or gave me a chance to get away from that orange color. Now, don't get me wrong. The orange looked great at first, and there was so much hype around it. But looking at that phone every single day, it was just a bit too much for me. So I opted for something that was a little bit less out there. And I went for the 17 Pro Max in the silver color, which personally, I think I made the right choice. Something I will say, for me, I get 5-6+ hours screen on time every single day. And for me personally, that is perfectly fine. I never get to a situation where I'm worried about the battery life because A, I'm usually around the charger at some point of the day, whether it be a wireless one or a wired one. And B, the phone charges fast enough for me to not worry about it. Now, I know there is some charging habits people have, setting the limit to 80% and stuff like that. I've actually set mine to 95% charging limit. Now, I don't know if it helps, but I figured stopping it from charging to 100 may be something that could help, but who knows. Something I will say is, for all those people out there that are saying, oh, don't do wireless charging, it's going to degrade your battery life, it's going to ruin your battery, don't listen to them. 90% of the time I use wireless charging, and even after 150 days of doing that, my battery health is still at 100% on my 17 Pro Max. So how bad can it really be? Apple moving away from the titanium on the previous generations to the aluminum on this 17 Pro Max. For me, it doesn't matter so much, and I'll explain why. But a lot of people use their phones without a case. I know, it's crazy. And with this aluminum structure, it is very fragile. Whether you drop it, you're going to get dents, or you're going to get scratches if you're not using a case. Me personally, I use a case and a screen protector from day one when I get my 17 Pro Max. This has been one of my favorite cases, and you've seen it on the channel multiple times. It is the MagBack Elite. Now, you're probably wondering, what is that MagBack Elite case? It looks so sick. Well, lucky for you, I'm not going to talk about the case only, but I'm also going to give you a discount code so you can grab yourself at a great price. So this is the MagBack Elite case, and it is one of my favorite cases for a couple different reasons. First of all, it is very protective while keeping slim. You've got great grip on the sides. You have a finger loop on the back if it's something you want to use. I know it comes in very handy when you've got this Pro Max model of the phone to put your finger in the back to give it more stability and holding the phone to make sure it doesn't fall out. Another thing you've got is a kickstand on the bottom, and they used to have it on the top, but because of that camera plaque, now they've got it on the bottom. Something I use every single day. With this kickstand, makes things super easy, and it's out of sight, out of mind when you're not using it. Another thing it has a bunch of magnets on the back, and these magnets are not only strong, but they're also telescopic, so they do actually come out to help you magnetize the phone on uneven metal surfaces. Great, right? And also, all of these, whether it be the finger loop, the camera guard, the buttons on the side, are all customizable. And for those of you out there that actually like to use the camera control button, you get one of them too. So if you want to grab yourself a MagBack Elite case, they've got them in this cool beige color and also black with a bunch of different customization options. Check out the link in the description box below and use that discount code to grab yourself a lot more saving. On the 17 Pro Max, we have a 6.9-inch display. To put it simply, without getting too techie, it is an amazing display, whatever you're doing. Now, I use it watching content, recording content on there. It gets super bright, up to around 3000 nits if you're in sunny conditions. I've used it outside, I've used it inside, and I've never been in a situation where the screen didn't get bright enough. Combine that with the 120 Hz ProMotion display, everything just goes super smooth. Now, we couldn't talk about the screen without mentioning that dynamic island. And I know when it was originally released, there was a lot of controversy around it. But to be honest with you, does it bother me? Absolutely not. I actually really like the dynamic island because of the way it implements live activities. So if you're using like a delivery app or a food service app or a timer or a parking app, it shows you up at the dynamic island, a quick shortcut and how much time is left or something like that. Easy to access, easy to see, and I really like that. Second of all, I absolutely love Face ID. And Face ID, I use it all the time. I absolutely hate remembering passwords, honestly. Face ID fixes that, whether I'm using it daytime or nighttime. And the great thing about Face ID on iPhones is that because it uses 3D scanning, you can use it at night without any issues. And your phone screen doesn't need to flash and blind you in order just to get a picture of your face in order to unlock the phone. Android users, if you're watching this video, you've probably experienced that issue more than once. That's not to say that if they could pack all the same features into the dynamic island and make it a little bit smaller, I think everyone would welcome that. When it comes to things like CarPlay and AirDrop, I know a lot of people have issues with them. Luckily, I haven't had any issues with that. AirDrop I use quite frequently, and 99% of the time it works every time, and fingers crossed it stays that way. Some things I have had issues with on the iPhone is I had a slight issue with the camera. So when I would record and move the camera around, the screen would start flickering because of the exposure or something. I didn't know what the issue was, but once I turned the phone completely off, turned it back on, it seems to have fixed it and I haven't had that issue anymore, which is weird. An issue I do get to this day, and it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's quite annoying, is when I'm editing text on screen, whether it be messages or anything like that. Oftentimes when I try and press on the message or on the text to either move back or forward or try to edit a piece of text, the screen at that section just becomes unresponsive and it won't do anything. So what I have to do is swipe up, go back to the home menu and then swipe back in the app. Miraculously, it's fixed itself. Now, is it annoying? Yes. But if that's the only issue I have to deal with, I'll take it. I can praise the cameras on the 17 Pro Max. Not so much for them being the best cameras out there, because from what I've seen on some of these Android phones, they're just taking it to a whole new level, but more so in consistency. I know that when I pick up my 17 Pro Max, whether it's to take a photo, take a video, that 9 out of 10 times it's going to be something very usable, and that I can appreciate. On the front, we've got that selfie camera with the brand new 18 megapixel center stage square sensor, and I'm going to be honest, it is pretty good, but at the end of the day, it's still a selfie camera, so it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the main camera on the back. Now, I've taken a bunch of photos on the 17 Pro Max, and I've compared them with various different Android phones. All of them videos you can see on my channel after this video. I may even link them in the description box below. But something I can say is the camera is no slouch. It does produce very nice pictures, and especially the video. I've got to say that the 17 Pro Max, or iPhones in general, give me some of the best video quality out there. So much so that I often use the iPhone camera when I'm doing any sort of shorts videos, something like that, because it is so easy to use and it gives me great consistent results. I don't personally need all that 8K footage stuff that some of these other phones are doing. If they do the 4K 30, 4K 60, 4K 120 very well like the iPhone does, that's more than enough. Now with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, obviously you can record log footage, which does give you some really nice quality. Unfortunately, it does take up a ton of storage. Now, for me, I got the iPhone 17 Pro Max in the base model, 256 gigabytes of storage. So once all my stuff's on there, I can't really record any log footage because of how much storage it takes up. But I have got a solution. Now, if you've seen on my previous videos, you may have seen this little contraption. Now, this is by Accessory, and it's actually a hub intended for iPhone, but I made a video about it working with the MacBook Neo, which a lot of people seem to like. What this does is, because it is a hub, gives you a bunch of different ports. So you get USB-A, HDMI, USB-C, power in, micro SD and SD card slots. And because it is made for iPhones, they've even put MagSafe on the back, so it attaches magnetically to your iPhone. All you do then is use a cable that it comes with, connect it to the hub, connect it to your iPhone, and now you're ready to go with an all-in-one solution to record that log footage on. Now you're probably wondering, well, how do I record that log footage? Where does the actual footage go? Well, underneath the top here, you've actually got space for an NVMe SSD drive. And I know what you're going to say, SSD drives now are very expensive, and I completely agree with you. I'm not telling you to go out and buy an NVMe SSD right now, but you may have one at home that you're not actually utilizing for anything else, and grabbing yourself this hub, then you can put that NVMe SSD in there and use it to record log footage on your iPhone if you want. Now, I've got links for this in the description box below, as well as discount codes to get it a little bit cheaper. So if you want to go grab one, make sure to check out the description box and the comments box below. Then I've got two complaints for the 17 Pro Max camera system. The first one being that camera control button. I honestly have no idea why anyone would use it, because swiping up, swiping down, it often goes too far forward or back. And I don't know why I would do that rather than just tapping the setting I exactly need on the screen instead of guessing doing that. I've had so many times I'm trying to use the camera vertically or horizontally and it just accidentally swipes and zooms in the footage or zooms out. The only reason I can see it being beneficial is if you want to use it as a shutter button or you just want to open up the camera app. Everything else, honestly, I don't see the point. If you know a way to turn that off, let me know. The second thing being is the camera automatically switching to macro mode while I'm recording in between recordings. So I'll stop a recording and for some reason, maybe I get too close to a subject or something, it automatically switches to macro mode. And I only noticed later on my Mac Mini when I load the footage up, the quality is so much less and it's so much more grainy. Even though on the settings I've actually turned off the auto switching of the lenses, but it still does it. Now, is the iPhone 17 Pro Max worth it after 150 days? Well, for me, I've got to say it is. Now, as a content creator, there comes times when I need to record content and I don't have or I don't want to bring my Sony camera with me. So knowing I've got a camera here that will give me consistent, great quality that I can use for actual content and videos or shorts, stuff like that, is a game changer. And when you combine that with the phone that has great battery, a great screen, great app optimizations, it's just an all-in-one package that I know it will do everything I need it to do when I need to do it. And obviously, with me being in the Apple ecosystem, having an iPad, a MacBook Air, a Mac Mini, AirTags, and AirPods, and so on, it just makes sense to have an iPhone. Now, is it worth upgrading from the previous generations? Well, I'll say if you're coming from the 16 Pro, you won't notice a huge amount of differences. Obviously, there will be some improvements. Every generation has improvements. But the older generation you come from, whether it be the 14, the 13, the 15, you're going to notice a bigger jump coming from the 17 Pro. But at the end of the day, if you can afford it and you want to get the latest and greatest iPhone, go for it. Who am I to tell you what to spend your money on? I guess I just hope that they switch things up. I mean, things have been quite the same when it comes to iPhone's design. This year, they kind of gave us an orange color and gave us this camera plaque, which kind of, it has changed the design, but something it's really done is just gave us more surface area to get damaged if you do drop your phone without a case on. And me switching to an Android phone, I can't see, although there has been Android phones that I've considered switching to, like the Oppo Find X9 Pro, which has been a really nice phone. Coming back to iPhone is something that I always do, and I can't see myself switching, being so deep in Apple ecosystem, to anything other than an iPhone, at least for my main camera. If there is a phone out there that comes with some insane camera specs, I may use that just for the camera. But yeah, maybe this year, it has been rumored that Apple are going to release the folding iPhone, iPhone Ultra, what the rumors say they're going to call it. So maybe that might be a phone that I switch to, and that should be a big change from the standard Pro and Pro Max models. Now, if you did enjoy the video, consider subscribing down below. If you've got any questions, remember to ask me in the comments box, otherwise I won't be able to answer them. Like the video, share it with your friends and family, because it does help a ton to grow the channel and get more people to see these videos. And as always, I appreciate you watching, I appreciate your support, and I'll catch you on the next one.